go live now. Good evening to all, and welcome to this live session with me in this sixth one that is in the series. So if you have not watched the earlier 5 current affairs in human geography, you can watch that in the playlist, that is current affairs in human geography on this channel, and this is the 6th one. So today also we have selected some topics related to current affairs in human geography that would be related to preliminary examination, specifically the upcoming examination. So I hope I'm live now, and I'm just waiting for somebody to tell me in the comment box that if you can hear me. Good evening and welcome to this live session with the geoecologist. So I hope your preparations are going on well, and so this current affairs in physical geography was the first 4 sessions, and then last 5th session was also related to human geography and other aspects, and today also we will be talking about human geography and related aspects. So let me see if people have joined in, and then we can start in another few seconds. So hello Mukesh, good evening. Can you see me, hear me clearly? Let me know, and then we can start the session. All right. So we have collected certain topics from different newspapers and phenomena in the news, and which hit India and world as well, both the aspects we are going to cover. So this is going to be the end session in this series of current affairs today. So this is going to be the last one. So in total we'll be covering about 80 topics or 90 topics in total, if you see from the first session till this session today. So 80 to 90 topics are good enough in terms of geography content or environment content in the paper, because rest of the content is also weighted to the other contents like polity, international relations that you already know. So you may prepare, you should prepare in proper way for other papers as well. But for geography content, I tried my best to give you as much as possible the main topics, most important topics that were in news, that could be potential questions. So roughly about we covered 80 topics odd. And good evening Mukesh. So now I think we're live, and am I clear and am I audible? Shall we start then? All right. So let's go ahead and learn. So in today's session, the first topic that I have selected is the lithium, right? It was in news that lithium reserves have been found. India's first ever lithium reserves have been found in this particular, you see here, the Karnataka's Mandya district, very famous, right? So that's the first news here. And for today's session, it's important that we understand it's part of human geography, economic geography, industrial geography, and so many other parts. You say it's also related to economics if you observe, right? Economy of India if you observe. So it will also be helpful maybe for GS papers as well for later on. But for now we are talking about preliminary exam. So the discovery is in very small size, that is about 1600 tons of lithium, and that's important here. Why? Because India heavily, we rely heavily on imports for lithium, right? We don't have much of production, anything, and this is the first time we have discovered it. So the preliminary survey of Atomic Minerals Directorate for Exploration and Research. Now this organization is important, right? Atomic Minerals Directorate for Exploration and Research, which is an arm of Center's Department of Atomic Energy, DAE, right? So AMD is part of DAE, who have done this preliminary survey, and exploratory work is meanwhile also on possibly extracting this lithium from different places in India. So research is going on, potential sites are being looked into. Now one important point here is brine pools. Now if you have watched the video on oceanography, you must have seen what is the difference between fresh water, brackish water, briny water, right? Salty water, what we say is the marine salts, and land-based salt. So the whole idea is brine pools of Rajasthan, Gujarat, and several other places in Odisha and Chhattisgarh are supposed to be mica belts where potentially lithium could also be found. That is being estimated. That's important. And Karnataka's area, that is Marlagla and Allapatna, that this area alongside this Nagamangala, and which is a shish belt. So schist is basically what? It's a metamorphic rock, where this is also supposed to be found, and Geological Survey of India and other organizations are working into it. So you see AMD and DAE. So for potential exploration of lithium, this is important. Now the development is important not just because first time it has been here, but also we had this agreement with Argentinian firm of prospect lithium in South American nation, which has 17 million tons of lithium metal. That's why it also becomes really important that recently, last 2 years back, we had this agreement, and we had this instituted state-owned company called Khanij Bidesh India Limited, who did this agreement, right, with Argentina. So in lithium context, this also becomes really important. And now comes the extraction part, that lithium can be extracted in different ways. So what are the different ways? One is generally done either through solar evaporation of large brine pools. So then the precipitate that remains, then you extract and process it, or by hard rock extraction of the ore, right? That's the two major way. So Sambar, Pachpadra and this particular run of Kutch in Gujarat, these areas are supposed to be potential sites. Now coming to the world perspective of the same, you observe Bolivia, Argentina, Australia and China, right? So this BAAC you should remember in the sequence of proven size of reserves, the huge reserves that you observe. So Bolivian plateau, South America, 21 million tons is the highest. Argentina 17, Australia 6.3, and China, which has 4.5 million. But remember, China is having lesser reserve in these four, if you observe, but more production. That's very important. So China is leading, right? So Bolivia, Argentina, Australia and China is this sequence here, right? That's to understand. Now sources of lithium extraction could be so many. So if solar evaporation, right, that is conventional lithium brine, right, then you have other extraction related to it, so that is related to hard rock. Then you have hectorite clay extraction, seawater, so sometimes from saline, extreme salinity may have these lithium ions. And then you have recycled brines from energy plants, recovered oil field brines as well, and recycled electronic products as well. So these are numerous sources that you can understand, and if there is a multiple choice question, you can mark the best fit according to this. So that could be one potential place. Now comes to the second thing that was important last year. It was in news all over. That's Visakhapatnam gas leak. And remember, styrene monomer gas, the name of the gas. And before this, Bhopal gas tragedy was very famous, right? So where you have this here styrene monomer gas is important. There it was ethyl mercaptan, which was important. So that was in 1984, and after that in 1986 we had our first National Environmental Policy, NEP, right? So here styrene monomer gas is important, and LG Polymers at RR Venkatapuram, that is in Visakhapatnam, this was the industry where it leaked. So 2 styrene tanks were leaked. Now it affected 3-kilometer radius. That's one factual thing here. Now important is, what does it affect? How does it affect? That could be one part, that styrene monomer gas, is it poisonous or is it not? So it is causing harm to humans in ingestion and inhalation, 2 methods. If you inhale it or it goes in your body in that way. So irritation in throat, breathing, wheezing, respiratory distress, all these things are important. Headache, nausea, vomiting, and in acute case even death has been reported. So that was important here, but no specific antidote or no specific treatment was then reported. So that was really important, that no particular way, right? It was just that you put wet clothes on your face. That was just recommended by the government. So that was important. But styrene monomer gas, you can read about it a little. That may be part of a question. That's important. Then comes the Digital India thing. The official push for digital has been happening since this BharatNet project happened in 2011, where villages were supposed to be connected with this optical fiber, 100 Mbps speeds, and connected Indian villages. Then implementation came in 2014 and deadline was 2019, but only 0.12 million panchayats have been connected by then. So that calls for a digital divide in 2021. So this digital India and digital divide words are very important. Anything related to it could be potential part of question. And if you observe this disparities, network strength, first of all, this is rural, this is urban, this is overall for India. You observe there is a huge disparity between urban and rural India here, right? That's one point to understand. Then you have certain surveys that are conducted by National Sample Survey Organization, NSS, right? So they gave this ideas that households with internet facility, rural India it's only 14.9%, roughly 15%, but urban India it's 42%. So here also you have a divide, and overall Indian average is 23.8%. Still a long way to go, right, to 100%. So that's really important. Then persons of age 5 years and above who can operate a computer, in rural it's just 12, right? So that's really important. Now coming to urban, 37%. Then people who can use internet in rural, 17% only, urban 43%. So these are all survey data, but the important is this organization, National Sample Survey, and Ministry of Statistics handles it. So you can look into that website as well and check into it, right? So then comes this news, which was of Uttarakhand, that is back to hills, reverse migration, as you say, coming back from the cities due to COVID. Lot many people went back home. So this hit one state specifically very interestingly, that Uttarakhand, several villages witnessed that wave of reverse migration, unprecedented wave. You see district wise, if you observe, so much of people returned back. So this was in news, and here district wise it's given. So when I'll be sharing the PDF on my Telegram channel, you can observe it and you can zoom and look into district wise. Pauri Garhwal, Almora, Tehri Garhwal, all of the districts of Uttarakhand have been mentioned here in this particular. And before 2011, out of 17,000 villages, almost 1,000 were vacant. That is important to understand, right? So almost, ghost villages left out. So that was important. Now people are returning back. That's really important news, that reverse migration happened. Now comes the second one. After this is this particular news, that's called hunger strikes. Now remember, we have talked about in the previous lessons also about sustainable development goals. The 17 goals should be on your fingertips. So zero hunger, zero poverty, these are important goals for which we are working. So hunger strikes in terms of India, if you observe, underweight category, severe underweight, wasting, severe wasting, all these categories are there mentioned here. Now what important is here, that 10 worst hit states in India. In terms of underweight, if you see, Bihar is on the top, right? So if you see this category here, Bihar, after that UP, then MP, then Jharkhand, Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, Assam, West Bengal and Gujarat. So 1, 2, 3, at least top 2, 3 you should remember. Then in wasted, right, that is important, low weight to height. So this weight to height ratio is in Bihar, the lowest, then MP, then UP, then Jharkhand and Odisha. So these are statistical things related to population geography if you talk about it. But related to sustainable development goals, that's how it becomes really important. So you see other stats here, 77 million children are already malnourished in India. 15 million additional children can be malnourished, malnutritioned, and 90% of additional malnourished children in the 10 worst states. So that's what the concentration is. That's why it really is important. And then comes the sixth point today is harnessing potash in Rajasthan. Now this also made some news, maybe regional news itself, but that's important in terms of mineral exploration in India if you observe in one of the states, that is Rajasthan. So here 3 organizations, Mineral Exploration Corporation Limited, MECL, then Rajasthan State Mines and Minerals Limited, RSMML, and Department of Mines and Geology, DMG. So they have this agreement, right, where in Rajasthan for solution mining of potash, right? So the area here is Nagaur Ganganagar belt, covering almost 3 districts, Sri Ganganagar, Hanumangarh and Bikaner districts as well. So these are potential sites where the work is going to be done. And storage potential of this potash, so bedded salt formations in Rajasthan are strategically useful for underground oil storage, and there are huge repositories, banks of hydrogen, ammonia, helium gas. So that's really important. Then industrial usage of potash and sodium chloride, bedded salt are extensively used in fertilizer industry and chemical industry. So it's one important thing, that is potash is used for fertilizer and chemical industry, and it has been, there is a agreement here. So more of this mining would be done, potential areas will be mapped. So that's one part. Then comes related to something which is forest trends in India. Now this forest cover has been up to 25% now. It has increased, and our target according to National Forest Policy is to achieve 33%. Now we are at 24.5% almost. So what is that mega trend that is going to affect the world in terms of forest, in terms of future? So what are the processes? There are 5 things, mega trends that's going to be important in terms of forest. So forest mega disturbances related to droughts and excessive precipitation, that's related to climate change. Then changing rural demography. Now remember, increased migration to urban areas, urbanization trends are picking up. So this is where unprecedented exodus among forest reliant communities. Then rise of middle class. Now this is related to social aspect. So, and socio-economic aspect really important here is middle class. By 2030 it is estimated that middle class in low and middle income countries will grow almost 5 billion people, around 50% of global population. It's a huge number, and if you have a huge number, there is going to be pressure on your natural resources, obviously. Then comes use of digital technologies. So in digital technology, we have digital communication technology coming up exponentially. As you know, it's increasing to the power n. So this is important, with 7-fold increase in internet and mobile cellular usage since 2000. So digital technology is going to again make it importantly in terms of human resources, and also the pressure on natural resources, because things are going to be imbalanced. Then comes infrastructure development as the 5th mega trend, which that's going to impact, right? So large scale infrastructure projects, for example, it was in news, China's Belt and Road Initiative. They are like transforming and impacting all the forest and rural communities as well, and same is happening in other countries as well. But the idea is in the lower tier countries, which are majorly into low and middle income group, there it's going to be a very important trend, right? Then it's really important, something called zombie fires, right? So this zombie fires, you must have seen several videos exist on internet. You can see that zombie fires. The whole idea of zombie fires is, zombie is a concept of returning back from dead, right? The undead, something related to that. So zombies in terms of fires are what? Sometimes what happens in forested areas, in permafrost areas, especially in Arctic region, it has been observed that forest fires, things happen and they subside, and then they again come back after some time. So there is a periodicity involved in Arctic region. That kind of fire is supposed to be hibernating in the peat, and remember this coal, peat, is made up of dead vegetation, mosses and different trees and shrubs. So sometimes they reignite, they come back again. Now May 2021, there was a wild burn in northern Russia, and this is supposed to be sparked by zombie fires. This was in news. So this could be one area. Now back from the dead is the concept here. Now look here, 2015, same patch. Then 2016, same patch, dormant fire. Fire is gone. And then again in May, it comes back again. Now this is what we talk as this. So this is what is coming back from the rest. That is what zombie fire means. So Arctic region soil holds a lot of carbon, and this is the major concern. It's not that fire don't happen anywhere else, but what is so much important in Arctic region? Because Arctic region contains a lot of carbon which is frozen under ice, and if it starts to burn, what will happen? Remember, it has twice as much as Earth's atmosphere carbon. So too much of carbon, again too much of greenhouse, and anyway we are worried about climate change and its impact. So that's really going to be done. So that's important. Now comes the 9th fact, that is related to Atal Tunnel Rohtang, which was inaugurated, and you must be knowing this. This was very common news in India. So Rohtang, which is very famous pass in Himachal Pradesh in Pir Panjal range, and it was inaugurated on 3rd October, and 9.02 kilometers the length, 3000 meters is the mean sea level height, and it is beginning from Solang Valley and it's going to the other side in Lahaul Spiti district, a place called Sisu. So this is how it is connecting. It is reducing 46 kilometer of travel length. That is one important point here, and almost 2500 crores were spent. BRO, Border Road Organization, is responsible for this maintenance and making. And then one important thing is the semi-transverse ventilation system used in this tunnel. right? Maybe this can be one potential area of a question in some exam, not in UPSC, but maybe in other exam. But I thought this point was really important. It's a system in which a separate ventilation duct is used for supply of fresh air. If you observe this diagram, right? So you have a separate ventilation duct. So in case of emergency, if people are trapped, anything happens, then in that case, fresh air will be pumped through different, so that's a really good thing that it has a semi-transverse ventilation system, and it's supposed to be world's longest highway tunnel. And the shape is called horseshoe. It's like this, horseshoe shaped, right? So that's important here, right? And I think you have some comments here. You have to Chandu Kanochia. Hi, you want to purchase good book for UPSC-CSE mains GS1. All right, I'll see. I'll recommend some book, but right now I cannot recall any particular book, because see, GS paper 1, there are several coaching institutes and people who give their own study material. So there is no single material for that. So that I cannot give you one book that you study and everything will be done. It's not a capsule method, I'm sorry, right? That you eat one capsule and GS1 will be solved. You need to go by topics, right? So wherever you find the topic relevant, you just take it from there, learn from there. And an Indian, hello. And I am already doing this geography optional videos that you already know on my channel. It's coming up, economic geography videos. Again, next week new videos will come. I'll be doing some work on this weekend. So this will continue after the series. Today is done. So that's important. Now 10th point is blue tide. Again, this bioluminescence, the word, it is important, right? Observed at Mumbai's Juhu beach and Devgarh beach in Sindhudurg, that is Maharashtra's coastline. This blue tide here, and this is because of this phytoplankton commonly known as dinoflagellates. So this dinoflagellates is important because it does chemical reactions in their proteins and they lit up like this. So that's important, but it's also supposed to be dangerous at some level because it may produce toxic substances. That's how it is really important, and it was in news, right? So if they reproduce rapidly, they will start converting to red tides that would be toxic. So this blue tide was in news. This is one thing that is important. And then it is resultant of few processes that you may have studied in science as well. That is eutrophication, very common. High temperatures, high quantity of organic material flowing, sewage flowing in the seawater, right? So more of phytoplanktons develop. And then there is, apart from anthropogenic reasons, you have climate change as major role player in increased seawater temperature, right? So there is a rise of plants and animals and weed and all insects. So that is really important in terms of climate change. And the last one is in the list, which is Mount Sinabung, that is erupted in Sumatra province of Indonesia. And it has lots of, this entire part is ring of fire, Pacific ring of fire, circum-Pacific belt that it contains about 75% of world volcanoes and 90% of earthquakes keep happening. So this mountain also erupted and it was part of the news. You can also look into this ring of fire and circum-Pacific belt. If you have studied geomorphology a little, you know about it. What is ring of fire? What is plate tectonics? If you have not, you can go to my channel in the geomorphology playlist. You can watch those videos in details. So this was in news. Now today, whatever I have shared, I will be sharing this after this session is over on my Telegram channel as usual. So this was the 6th and the last that I did in this series. About 80 odd topics, or more than 80 topics we covered in total. So you can look into it if you have not watched the earlier parts, that is series from 1 to 5. Today was the 6th. You can watch it together. And all the PDFs I'll be sharing on my geoecologist Telegram channel, right? And if you want to join my Instagram for day-to-day updates, there I keep doing Insta Live for talking with you people, any problem, anything that we can discuss on Insta Live, we can do there. So you can follow me on Instagram, the geoecologist, and we can talk over related to these things that you're asking me here on YouTube so many times. And on YouTube it is very difficult to answer every comment because so many comments keep coming, so many requests keep coming, and it takes lots of time. So sometimes in Instagram it's very easy to just talk across the screen, right? So you can join me on Instagram if you want to for live sessions on Insta. So all the best wishes. And the paid course details, Mukesh, you're asking me here. Paid course details will be given on 1st of October when I start the new batch for 2022 exam, right? Right now the current batch is going on. So October 1 the registration starts. There I'll give you all the details related to the course structure and the fee structure and everything. So 1st of October I'll do a live session for this batch that I'm launching for 2022. So there I'll tell you about it. So I hope you had a great learning time, and I wish all the aspirants very best. So crack your prelims and don't take too much of exam pressure. All the best wishes to all of you. Take pressure of not doing well yourself rather than exam pressure. You should give your best. That should be your pressure. That's my suggestion, that take pressure to give you 100%. Don't give 99, right? So you should be satisfied after giving exam that you gave your best. Now let the result be there. Right, so all the best wishes to all the aspirants who are watching, and also to future aspirants who are watching. So all the best wishes, and again my videos continue from Monday, Tuesday onwards, because on the weekend I'll be creating new videos, and economic geography series for geography optional continues. And as I said, the paid course details I'll be advertising and I'll be giving on 1st of October. So all the best, keep learning, keep sharing, and stay safe. Bye bye, take care.